This is Green Room Radio. We are back at it. Super James checking in. Domo hanging out. True is in the building.
Up? What up?
And a very special show, a legend in the music business. Bad Boy Bill is hanging out with us as well.
What up?
He looks real serious over there, man.
He's the tannest guy from Chicago. I can tell you that right now.
Not even.
Were you tanning during COVID?
I'm trying to.
Hey, you know they said that ultraviolet was supposed to protect you, so I did start tanning a little bit.
He was tanning before COVID. He's lying.
I was tanning. I'm from Detroit, man.
Tans.
Yeah, you can do the emergency, the spray tan, whatever.
So the spray tan protects as well?
I don't know. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt you anything any more than what's already
everything else
on.
going around.
So
there you go.
So what have you been doing, Bill, during this whole I call it a plandemic.
Plandemic, man. I just we did some live streams, me and Richard Vision. I did some drive-ins where we were, we had stages set up, but then people would just drive their cars in. Just trying to do something, man.
Yeah, how was that? I mean, I've heard so much about these drive-ins. I didn't get to go to one, but I mean, I heard they're pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, I mean, they simulcast it on a radio station, so you could tune in, because some of them were in the winter. In Chicago, it's cold.
It's got the heater on blast.
So yeah, you might
be better.
You might be in your car and just simulcasting it, but yeah, man, it was cool, man.
Were people like, so when they pull up for however many seconds, were they just blowing on the horns and yelling shit out the window?
Some people, yeah. And then when it was good weather, you could they left a little part around your car where you could dance and stuff, so people get out of their cars, and then
you have to stay in your box.
You could, but then people were just coming to the stage anyway.
We didn't come to it. Like by the end of the show, everyone's just at the stage anyways. Like they're not gonna pay attention. I was
wondering how regulated that was. So what did you think about most of the DJs I talked to? I mean, was that hard transitioning when you and Richard were doing the house connection, basically performing in front of nobody but yourself in your house?
Yeah, it was strange, man.
It's hard to put your fucking hands up.
A little bit. I'm not that DJ anyway. You don't see me jumping up and down on a trampoline. So I mean, for me, it's whatever. But yeah, for a lot of guys, it was definitely not their thing, because if their whole thing is based on a show and jumping up and down, there's and explosions and stuff like that. If that's your show,
that's the new school,
right? You're screwed.
I call them the not performance DJs.
Exactly. So that didn't work for them. But guys like Vice and stuff like that, who talk on the mic and interact with people, and DJ. I thought that was pretty entertaining. On Twitch, they were doing that, so I thought it was cool. I was tuning into some of that.
Yeah. No, I was watching. I was telling people we watched. I mean, the cool thing was that, now you can actually bring your 1-year-old daughter to EDC when they're doing all these things. I had that shit going in my living room, and what I said was, when it first started, I mean, it was cool all the way through, but I felt like as it kept going, the production just started getting so silly that you couldn't even see the DJ anymore. It was just lights and cheerleaders and all this crazy ass shit going on. That
was kind of cool because it was right in your living room.
It was.
Yes. Yeah, and then they were saying stuff. What was that company? The Philips Hue. They actually made a thing where you could start buying stuff for your house. So whatever was going, if there was red lights going on the TV, the DJ's production, it goes in your house. Yeah. So I mean, it got deep.
That's like when you're planning on being there for a long time.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm a real raver, so I got all that shit hooked up.
I bet you do.
We were
fog
machines, everything. So. But yeah, so how was that? I saw you guys did multiple house connections. I saw you did one time with Laid Back Luke.
Yeah, we had Irene for one. We had Luke for one.
Irene, I haven't heard that name in a minute.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was fun. It was, it's just cool because, so like you said, people are just stuck at home, and entertain people. Give them something to watch and do.
How was it setting up? So I know, because we went through those growing pains phenomenally, but to really figure out this live stream thing and to make it run on all cylinders.
Man, we had to learn video production real fast, right? We're all audio guys, and then we're the first one I think we were doing with iPhones, and
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, the streams were just directly from your phone to Twitch.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're we don't know what the heck we're doing, but we figured it out pretty quick.
Yeah, no, it was funny because it was funny watching people their transition from when they first did their first live stream.
Right.
The first one we did was with Scribble, and I mean, Scribble was a fucking nightmare mess running around saying we're missing.
Did he get corona on that one?
Yes, he.
Or whatever?
No, we think he brought us COVID.
Oh, he did.
Right.
There was about we weren't gonna. It was her birth. It was Domo's birthday, so we weren't gonna have anybody, just the DJ in, and yeah, like seven of me being one of them, 7 of us got COVID, and we're like, it was fucking Scribble. From New
He
York.
brought it from the East Coast. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the East Coast over
I'm
here.
like, that's just some shit he would do.
Well, you should have the production right.
That's right. He did, and then the thing I learned with Scribble is don't ever put your credit card on file for him at the MGM. That was a one and done for me. But I'm like, can you order? I'm calling MGM. Can you order escorts on a credit card?
Charge it to the room.
This guy put $6,000, and literally he was there for like 6 hours from the time of our show to he left.
That's probably a pretty good rent.
No, I'm like, bro, I'm like, what? I'm like, what did he do?
That's actually impressive.
No,
I was gonna say,
like,
yeah, you would have to get your minibar refilled multiple times
it up.
to pull that up.
yeah, I was like, he must have been roaming through the
He was
casino.
probably putting the room card
Getting markers.
on red.
Right.
Yeah. Like, what's the
Right.
maximum
No,
you
that's
get
what
on
I
this
said
rent?
because I'm like, he couldn't even have ate or
Yeah, there's not $6,000 in the minibar.
nothing that would have did that. And
Room service.
but it was crazy during that time because I was in the heat of the COVID. But something funny, I was taking him to the room. And we get off on the floor, and bang, there's 2 escorts, and they're like, "How you guys doing? Can we come to your room?" And I'm like, it Scribble's like, "You guys are probably the police, huh?" and I'm like, damn, I'm like, now the girls are waiting for you on the floor when you just get out the elevator. I'm like, shit,
That's service right there.
They're really struggling out here now. So, what's
What
up with
when you when COVID broke and everything, what is there anything that you got into or like that you weren't normally doing that you like finally got to do, or just something that you took on?
Did you start
while you
sewing
were-
or anything?
Yeah, like did you like making mittens?
I
or-
was just eating and watching YouTube and Twitch, man. That's it. I just kept like I wasn't doing anything. I was like out of it. You know, the biggest thing was just not flying.
Yeah.
Like just because we're so used to flying like every week, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Oh,
just to
man.
be like, it was strange. You know, it's like, man, we're not getting on a plane for a long amount of time.
Did you enjoy it at first?
I did.
Yeah,
I was kind
that
of like,
little
this
break.
is kind of cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't have anything to do like that. But after a while, you're like, all right, now what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
That's when we
what the
start doing the
hell?
live
Yeah.
streams. We're like, we gotta do something.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's
do you
just-
know why did everybody, when this pandemic started, we haven't got this answer yet, but why did everybody buy all the toilet paper?
I have no idea.
Like of all the shit in the world closing.
I think True stays up at night
Wait,
wondering like.
Man.
but did you buy toilet paper?
I use
You
that-
remi-
Did
you
you
re-
load up?
Bill reminds me of a prepper.
I use
Are
the
you-
Cottonelle stuff or whatever. It's not even toilet paper. It's like the moist, wet, whatever those things
Oh,
are.
the wet
yeah,
wipes.
The wet- I don't even use toilet paper.
Did they
I'm like,
did they not sell out of that? I feel like that would
No,
have been.
I was cool with that.
Hey,
I
we
had fun.
we actually ran out of this shit, and I was up partying one night, and I told her I'm going to fucking Walmart, and she's like, it's only for senior citizens from 6 to 8 a.m. I'm like, fuck that, I'm getting in there. And dude, I walked right up to the door at Walmart, and there's like an 80-year-old guy, and he's like, hey, this is senior citizen. I fucking gave him $200. He's like, go. And then
You're looking real 80ish right
look,
now.
I look young for my age.
and then what was scary, I was telling her, I get back, and it's like a party with senior citizens. And there was an armed guard at each end of the toilet paper aisle, and they're like, you can buy
Christ.
1 pack of toilet paper, 1 pack of paper towels, and so I got that, and then they said 1 baby wipes, and I had just had a baby, so I'm like, I need these fucking baby wipes, and then the only thing they didn't talk about was the water, so I'm like, all right, so when I got that shit, I went and got like 15 cases of water.
Right.
I get up to the front, they're like, 1 case, sir. And
After
then-
you
hey,
carried them all the way up?
no, I had it in a stroller, but they unpacked it. Like they had a mountain of water.
Oh, because from people doing that?
Yeah,
Like,
so
yo,
I was
put a
like-
sign up.
I was like, man. So I'm already prepping for this round 2. Like I got so much toilet paper and paper towels, and
But what's gonna be the next
flip it.
thing?
it's gonna be toilet paper again. I already see it. I go
feel
in
like
the
it might be
grocery
something
store.
new, like something
be
like
something
because everyone's
new.
like, oh, we didn't really need that. What else can we freak out about?
Yeah.
Well,
It just never made sense. I'm like, the world's gonna end. Everybody went and got toilet paper. Like I'm just like,
we're all gonna die of this virus.
We want to shit in peace.
yeah. And I mean, the thing that was, I would tell her I'd be the one to go to the grocery store or whatever. But I was like, I didn't feel at all because I'm like, I've been social distancing my whole life. So it's like, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Drew's never had friends
to,
anyway,
yeah,
so
to,
it's
to
cool.
be alone. So, but I would go to the grocery store and it would give me anxiety because I would look around and you could some people aren't doing as good as other people, and you just saw panic in people.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd come home from the grocery store, I was shook.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is some fucked up shit going on. Like, what's what's all these people gonna do? So that was the only thing that bothered me. I'm seeing that a little bit now. I mean, even though obviously when they said the floodgates open, Vegas we got hammered. California, like everybody came piling in here. So I hear you mentioned you might possibly be looking for a house out here.
I mean, I'm looking at it because Illinois is just kind of not doing that great right now. So it's kind of in the similar situation to California. So
Who was that G-Liner that just came through there? They opened that door.
The cops.
Yeah.
So are you looking like you're looking for maybe a permanent new home, or
I don't know, or at least a hideout.
This is what I said. Yeah, a rave cave.
Right, something like that. Stabbing cabin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that one.
We got Pasquale out here. He's out here in Vegas. But something that was funny, I know a lot of the guys on Insomniac, like, you know, California people are California people. Domo here is a real California person. But like Forrest.
What's that though?
I know that's
yeah. Well, I mean, it's, you know, you got the beaches and stuff, so it's like a little different vibe out there. But Pasquale moved out, like 20 of the executives from Insomniac, got them these lofts downtown, and they stayed, like Forrest and them stayed for like 2 weeks, and they were like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like
they couldn't handle it.
They just didn't like Vegas. They're just like, this ain't our vibe.
I got you.
You know, and downtown, they were staying downtown, and you know, downtown
That's
is
a different vibe.
They're trying to make it like it's kind of LA-ish downtown, but I mean it's basically just kind of like a knockoff.
There's really nothing like LA, like nothing.
No.
Compared, like
Especially
yeah,
like,
don't compare it to LA.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like I'm at LA. Nah, that's not happening.
No.
But yeah, I mean, do you like the cold weather out there? I
Not
mean,
really, no.
Yeah, no, it's dude. The second I got out of Detroit, it was like, I love the people back there, and I miss the people. But I'm like, that weather, that downtime. I'm like, man, I was so depressed out there.
It's gloomy in the fall and winter, like it starts getting gloomy. And it's just
that's
not a good vibe.
You know, I say out here that just the sun every day. I mean, you have 2 hot months versus 7 cold months, but I'm like, every day the sun's out.
Yeah.
You know, and when it's bad weather, it's windy.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you're from the windy
All right,
city.
rains for 10 minutes.
Yeah, rains for a 10-minute shower, and everybody starts panicking.
Yeah, then no one knows how to drive.
Yeah. So how you were just what show did you just do? That I just see you on.
Yeah, we were in
James.
Dallas this weekend.
You had the King Little G was on there.
Shout
out to him.
How is Texas?
You know, Texas, I feel like, because I went there a couple times during COVID.
They were pretty
Texas
open.
is like, it's like another country over there.
Right.
I think they closed for like 4 days or something like that, and then just. Yeah, no mask. There was even during COVID. We had masks on at the airport. Everyone's looking at us crazy. Like, what are you guys doing?
Oh, wait a minute. You're in Chicago.
Yep.
LALApalooza.
It just happened last weekend.
How was it?
I watched it on Hulu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was dope. I didn't know they were gonna do that.
Yeah, dude.
streamed the whole
LALApalooza. They
thing,
called
right?
it Lala COVID Loza or whatever because they said it was it could be a super spreader party.
I mean, did you see those crowd shots?
It was
what is that main stage
Oh,
like?
man,
It was packed. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many people, but it was crazy.
Yeah, those.
They said 100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100,000 people right now.
So is that still the original LALApalooza people putting those on?
Perry, yeah.
Yeah.
Still
Oh
doing-
my God.
Yeah.
So who was the main?
So the funny story about that. So what was the guy's name that owned Motor or that ran Motor?
Dan Sordell.
So Dan told me the story that he was talking to Perry, and they were talking about bringing LALApalooza back. This was before he brought it back. It had kind of done its thing. And Dan told him where was the best crowd for Lala, and he said Chicago. He goes, you need to do an annual in Chicago. Just do one LALApalooza. Don't do the whole tour.
Because they were doing like different countries.
They were doing
and stuff,
different
right?
cities, and so
just
it was
everywhere.
Dan's idea that he told Perry to do just one city and make it huge and do it like an annual, and that's what they did, or that's what I guess.
Oh, wow.
Perry did. So.
Did you see the video of that guy that he went to the park like the week before and buried bottles, and then he went and dug? So when he went in, he dug them up. Like
was that G minor?
Yeah, it's something he would do for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a
like
real
bottles
thing.
of alcohol?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's the next level shit.
Right? That's thinking right there.
Man.
That is.
So was Dan Sordell wasn't ever partners with, I feel like he had a partner named Perry. Did he have a partner named Perry?
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think
So you mentioned something about Motor for these guys that don't know Motor. Motor was the shit.
it was
What's
the best.
Motor?
Yeah, it was like an electronic club in Detroit. I don't even know if it was considered after hours or just nightclub in general.
Yeah.
But man, they had one of the most epic runs. I know a lot of I don't know if it was Tiesto, but one of the really big DJs put it in his like top 3 places he ever played at. But it was just the spot,
Yep.
and I mean it went on for many years, and I don't know. I don't know what ended up happening with all those guys that were involved, but they just
Those
stopped.
kind of things are just they're just so huge and then they go away. Like
Yeah,
there's got to be a story behind it.
You know
but
what's
it's something
crazy
that
though?
no one ever hears.
I feel like if when I bought that after hours out here, the funny thing is I considered calling it Motor,
Right.
because I'm like, they never said in Detroit, like with Motor, they're like, like to keep the energy going or something like that. And I don't know, I can't even think of what the guy's name was, but one of the guys, I think he was the smallest on the list with Dan.
Right.
This is like fucking, they've been closed for like 20 years. He sends me a fucking Facebook and he's like, bro, I'll sue you if you use that name.
Oh
we
my
still own the
God.
rights. And I'm like, we're in Vegas, bro.
I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say I don't think you can own the rights.
No,
like,
dude,
he didn't
I don't-
buy the rights in every state.
I don't know who the
Trademarks
guy was.
expire if you don't use them.
Yeah,
it just
that's-
doesn't work like that.
That's
You have to
crazy
keep
then.
using it or you lose it.
That's what he said to me. Dude, he said that
Use
to
it
me
or
and I
lose
was
it.
just like, and if you remember, we did a show with you and Richard. Remember we were going to reopen the Motor?
Yeah.
And it was that guy. And I
Wow.
can't think of that guy's name. It definitely wasn't Dan Sordell, but it was that guy who
Okay.
shut us down.
Cool.
Like it was said that we had it set, because that was
That's what he's got to do for a
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's bored. He
Good
doesn't have the
job.
club to run, so
Right.
I'm
And,
just gonna hate on anyone else.
him and you and Richard probably used to pull some of the biggest crowds that Motor ever had.
They had the coolest merch too. I still remember I had a Motor hat, I had a Motor shirt. Like it was some.
It's
dope
like
merch.
11 now.
Yeah.
You know, 11 like
What?
everything
Yeah.
about 11 is just their merch. Like
Yeah.
they probably make more money on merch than they
For
do at the
sure.
cover on the cover.
Yeah.
How for those that don't know the backstory, how did you and Richard link up? Because you guys have been doing it for so long.
It was, it was right around when he had his group, The Movement, and I had my group, Reality. So I booked.
Was this a breakdancing group or
No,
what?
Reality had a song. It was a big song called Yolanda.
Go dance.
It was like more of a commercial house song, and
Yeah.
and The Movement was, I think, signed to Arista. I think and Richard was the DJ in the group, and there was they had a song called Jump or Jump Motherfucker Jump or some shit. I don't remember. But anyway, so I booked his group up to come to Chicago because I used to throw parties as well, and then he booked me to play at the Dome in LA for my group, and then I also I started DJing, and then we just became friends because he was on the radio in LA, I was on the radio in Chicago, and it was kind of.
Oh, so you were is it prior to your DJ career? You were a radio personality,
I wasn't a personality. I was a mix show DJ.
mix show DJ.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we were both big mix show DJs in our markets.
Wow. Yeah. What
being from Chicago, that's like, I mean, house music is obviously like legendary. What
Shout out to my friend Ron Carroll.
what
And
Yeah.
rest in peace, Paul Johnson. He just
I
passed
just
away.
saw
too.
that
Oh,
earlier.
I
I saw
didn't
that
know
earlier.
that. Rest in peace, Paul Johnson.
What was like legendary out there for you, or what was your favorite venue to play there at any point in your career?
There's so many cool clubs in Chicago, especially when I was first starting out. Like there was a couple called Shelter, which was amazing. I never DJ'd there, but just going there, the vibe was incredible. The Warehouse, but there was multiple incarnations of the Warehouse. So the one that I played at was with right across the street from DJ International Records, which is one of the premier original house music record labels.
Yeah.
I used to actually work in the distribution part of it, packing up records and shipping them to stores and taking them to record stores. But I don't know. There's so many iconic clubs in
Kinda hard to
Chicago.
pin it
Yeah.
down.
What
Yeah.
wasn't there? It was Crowbar. Was that Chicago?
Crowbar, Chicago. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. There's a lot of great clubs there.
Yeah.
So speaking of Vision, prior to I think it was like what 2018, 2019. You guys did the back to
When
vinyl tour.
when did he stop? When did he
2016,
stop
15.
being Humpty Vision? Was
know
that
what year
was that after the
Yeah,
Raves?
No, that was more recent. That was
probably in the
like
last 10 years.
10 years,
15.
yeah.
I remember bagging on him forever. I'm like, dude, drop the Humpty already. And he's like, no, I don't know if I can. And
Like,
he's
they
trying-
won't,
Wait,
they
who
won't
is
know who I
that?
am. They won't know who I am.
Richard Vision used to be Richard Humpty Vision.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he
And then it was like a big deal if you called him that.
Yeah,
After he
he gets
dropped
mad
it, like,
about
yeah,
it.
he gets mad about it.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
like, try to fine you $5.
Hey, you know,
Yeah.
you know what's
Humpty.
funny, real quick? So when we had Bill, so I said, all right, I'm gonna bring Bill and Richard. We're gonna do it at Motor. So it was all set and ready to go, and this guy like cock blocked it
Fucked
and
your
was
shit
like,
up.
"You can't do it. You can't do it in this venue or whatever." So we ended up getting one of the most hood warehouses ever. And then I remember telling you, I'm like, "Hey man, this is gonna be another illegal underground."
Right. Well, I'm like, hey, nothing I'm not used to.
Yeah, and
like,
I don't know.
let's do
I
it.
don't know what happened, but do you remember that night Richard like was having plane issues?
I don't remember.
Like, dude, I guess he like went through total hell because
Okay.
he kept getting stuck at airports. He ended up making it on time, but you don't remember you had to do the I
sound
think
check and
you
stuff?
had to do the sound check for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
But he did end up making it. But I guess he went through hell and back just
I
to
don't
get
remember.
to.
I remember Lord was with us that night too, didn't he?
Yep.
play?
Oh yeah, DJ Lord.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a crazy night, man. We busted.
Travel's the worst.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, what made you want to
Back to
just do
vinyl?
that back
Yeah.
to vinyl? Yeah, and how did you pull that off with having such rare heavy vinyl press these
So
days?
it was a guy named Dennis White who goes by Static Revenger or Detroit. He's from Detroit.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him
And
for sure.
he was talking to Richard like, yo, you guys need to do a vinyl tour. He goes, these kids haven't seen that. They have never seen DJs
what
like
the hell is
really
that?
like and me and Richard were talking about it. And I'm like, man, that's just gonna be whack. I'm like, what do we do? Play old school and shit? I'm like,
Right,
I'm
'cause
like,
how you
I'm
gonna
not
get the new
down.
shit?
So
Yeah.
then we're on the phone. We're still brainstorming about it. I go, you know what'd be dope? I go, if we got enough tour dates, let's print up
Press
new
new
records.
vinyl. Yeah.
I go, it's about $1,000 per record because you have to pay for the mastering and the plating and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I go, if we did 10 records at 4 or 5 songs per record, I go 50 songs. I go, we could probably pull off a set with 50 songs. You know what I mean? And we'd have all new music.
Yeah.
So once I came up with that idea, I was like, I think we can make this work. And that's what we ended up doing. We're like, all right, we're gonna press up new music, but we're gonna do the whole set on vinyl. But then it was trying to figure out how to stop feedback.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. So I had them come to Palm Springs, and the craziest thing was the rider was racket balls, racket balls underneath the feet of the.
So guess
the
who
turntable.
was in charge of figuring out feedback? Me. So I rented a big, what do you call those? Like the bass bins.
Yeah.
And I put a turntable on top of the bass bin, and I'm trying to figure out ways to stop the hum. Because I'm like, if it can work the turntable's on the bass bin,
oh, then you could
then you could go anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
So I remember Julian Jumpin' Perez, my buddy, told me that I don't remember what DJ, it might have been Oakenfold or somebody had came to wherever, somewhere in Chicago, and they had a piece of concrete and
a concrete paver, then a racquetball, and the turntable sitting on the racquetball.
On top of the paver.
Oh
So it's the turntable on this concrete thing that you put in your garden.
Like the stepping stone.
Thick piece of concrete and like 9 racquetballs underneath. And somehow that combination stops vibrations.
Absorbs
it's
all of
insanity.
it.
So you
And
had
the
to figure out
turntables
how many
sit on it.
racket balls needed to
We
be
knew,
under
because if you put too many racket balls, then it starts humming. If you put not enough, then it doesn't work either. So I had to
Dude, when
get
I saw the rider, I was like, "Wait, what?
racket balls and
racket
pavers?
balls? Yeah, so I gotta go to Home Depot, then I gotta go to
pavers.
go to like a sports
it
store.
works.
Holy shit!
It works.
Yeah, but it was.
works.
Did you have any issues at all?
The issues we had were turntables broken
Because people haven't
just
used
don't
them
take care of them.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
beat them up.
Yeah.
So we would ask for extra turntables because we knew that some of the
One of them
pictures were
wouldn't
gonna be
work
messed
or
up,
something.
yeah.
Man, that makes
Wow.
total sense because everybody, nobody really uses turntables anymore, so they just
Yeah,
sit there.
they're
and-
all in the club, but probably one out of every
dust.
10 works.
Forget what
Yeah.
city it was that we were in. It might have been Sacramento. We were on like an hour and 45-minute sound check, and me and Richard just looked at her. What the fuck are we doing? Why did we decide to do this?
Yeah.
Like CDJ
And
is
then-
like
yeah,
there's so much.
exactly. And I think the other thing I was going to ask you was like, what percentage of the audience do you think really appreciated that? Or like, I mean,
There's like one guy going, yeah,
yeah,
go.
vinyl, yeah.
Everybody
That's
else-
what.
Hey, that's all you need.
Yeah,
though. If you
That's
got-
all you need.
if you got that
They're
one
like,
guy.
You gotta
Joe,
put
we
the
spent
show
we
on.
spent 15 grand making these records so
Right,
that guy could have a good time.
He fucking loved it.
Yeah, fucking guy.
Yeah, how did you guys do well with selling the merch and stuff on the streams?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then were you guys distributing that yourself, or did you have a company?
We had a company that was handling all the pressing of the stuff. Yeah, for us.
Hey, I bought every one of them damn shirts, and
Did you?
I'm not wearing it. I got it in my thing just to.
You can't get them anywhere. People see me wearing them. They're like, "Yo, where can I get one?" I'm like, "It was just for that limited."
That's
time.
what I said. I'm holding it. Wait another 10
You're gonna
years.
see Tru put on eBay
Right.
in a couple years.
You're gonna see him and Vision. They're gonna be old guys with white hair doing house connection.
Right.
That's
You'll
that's
have
when
to
I'm
let your
gonna
bust out the
that's when
shirt.
I'm gonna wear the shirt.
Just
Wait,
in his living room, just
Yep.
for the live stream.
I like the name House Connection.
Yeah.
That
house
was
connection.
We kind of stole it from. What was the one with Ice Cube and that it wasn't West Side
West Side Connection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of where I took the
Okay.
name from. I was like,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
We kind of mashed it.
Yeah.
Little
We powered it a
mashup.
little bit.
Little mashup. So, will you ever do that again? Go through that again?
The Back to Vinyl
Yeah.
tour. I don't know, man. Probably not. I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
it just. And I bet those soundage checks were crazy
It was
because every
crazy.
venue, the table's different, so that's
Yeah.
gonna give a different effect.
It was fun though, man. Mixing on vinyl is actually fun because you actually are moving the pitch control. It's analog. It's moving. It's not.
Right.
You know, you don't put it at 0.14 and put the other 0.14.
Yeah.
It's like this is
Yeah.
like yo.
And no, I was gonna say, and especially at
No
this point,
training
no
wheels.
turntable is the same. Like you can't put them at
No.
the same place. You really gotta.
Yeah,
know how to mix.
little Domo
Wow.
Monster over here. She went to LA recording school, so
Oh, did you?
she's got
Yeah.
a little bit of
A
skill.
little bit.
Uh-oh.
She's
I'd
never seen a
love to
DJ
learn
use turntable.
vinyl.
Yeah, you should.
So yeah, when Scribble was here, of course, it's like, oh, it's a female. He gave her his whole took like how many hours?
I got his
His
music.
whole hard drive,
Wow.
everything. And I'm like,
Damn.
well, you got every fucking song
Right.
for sure on there. So
Probably delete half of that.
I got everything I need.
All right.
yeah, I was telling her though. I said I have this thing. I don't, you know, I hate saying it because there's so many good girl DJs, but every time I see a girl DJ, I start to cringe because the girl DJs here in Vegas are usually 100% not legit.
Okay.
You know, where other places in the world, you know, I'm sitting here, girls are popping in my head like Colette,
Yeah.
who I absolutely love her.
Mhm.
But there's just a lot of fake girl DJs, and I
Yeah.
mean, their favorite thing to play obviously is deep house. So I told Domo, I'm like, listen, if you're gonna go tour and do the thing with that, you're gonna know how to fucking scratch and do
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring
Like
that up. You know, a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
like I think a lot of people trip out on that. Like when you scratch at your shows, like you know what I mean. They expect you just, you know, it's not a normal thing for a house DJ.
Well,
or,
I missed that. I mean, do you miss the whole reaching back, getting the like that was part of the fucking show.
Right.
So now when you know, like I was laughing, she had just told me, you know, and it's nothing against the what is it, Swedish House Mafia, but I'm like, okay, they went away because people realized, you know, there's 3 DJs is a little bit too much up there. You know? But
what
I'm
are
like,
you, what are you doing?
so when everybody started saying like, okay, this is fake DJ, and then all of a sudden, but I'm like, now they're coming back.
Right.
Coming
And
back.
I'm like, they're coming back to get the bag again,
Sounds
and then they're
good.
gonna. But I'm
Sounds
like,
good.
good for them. But yeah, no.
I mean, we were talking about that earlier. I think it's a lot to do with the production. You know, people are going to hear you play your records.
Yes.
But how do you feel about that when you see certain DJs that, you know, like, you know, you're a true artist, this is what you've done, and like I said, turntablists as well. I mean, has that ever bothered you? Like,
Hey,
you just
man.
kind of stay in your lane.
It's you know what, it is what it is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, if they're getting their money, you know, let's say they made some dope records, but they don't know how to DJ, and they go up there. You know, I would say at least try to figure out how to program. And
I
like,
mean, if you can produce a record, I mean, you should be able to figure out how to at least
I think
play a
I think
show.
it's easier to figure out how to DJ than it is probably how to
produce. Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So
for sure.
Yeah.
like at least try to get, you know, I'm not going to name the name, but there was a really dope producer I had a lot of respect for, and I went and saw him at his show when he was first coming out, and the programming was hell. It was
Yeah.
just people were leaving halfway through the show, and I'm like, man, if he would have just came to me, I could have programmed this set
Right,
and
right,
put
right.
enough cool
Filler
things
stuff
in.
in between,
Yeah, like
yeah.
give people something to hang on to, then
Mm-hmm.
play some weird shit, then give them something else, you know, and that's what we learn programming, right? Or
Right,
you know,
right.
if you're especially a radio DJ, like if you've been a mix show DJ, you understand every couple songs you better put something familiar in because people are just gonna go zoop, we're gonna switch the dial.
Yeah. Everyone got
So,
ADD. Yeah.
Whether it's an acapella or something, you can't go 6 records in a row of whatever, some weird stuff, because people are just gonna be like tuned out. So there's just ways to program, but once you figure that out, I mean, you know, do you, man. If you're gonna jump up and down and you know, cheerlead your music, man, cheerlead it up, you know, get your
Yeah.
money, man.
Dude,
whatever.
I being from Detroit especially, I mean, I've lived out here in Vegas since '05.
Yeah.
And man, I just some of these locals and some of these people that I see getting these passes, I'm just like, come on, man.
Right.
Like these motherfuckers aren't even DJing.
But here's the other thing. Go to the other extreme and you see some guy for like a half hour and you're like, bro, stop.
Yeah,
Like,
see,
we know you can scratch,
Yeah,
homie.
yeah, we get it.
Play some music
Yeah.
that people want to dance to. You know, you don't
Yeah.
and don't change the record every 30 seconds because you know, I just saw a funny like TikTok or something and people were like every 30 seconds like kept switching and the guy's like,
Not even
can't
not
even groove to it,
you're
'cause
just
it's like-
mid verse or
yeah, they definitely aren't for scratching in Vegas. I know all
you got to
the
find a
nightclubs.
balance, man. Even me, like I use scratching as icing. You know, I use tricks here and there. I'm not trying to overdo it. And people are like scratch more. I see people in the audience, and I'm like, yeah, dude. Okay, homie, I got you.
holding up the phone. Can you scratch? Can you scratch, please?
Yeah. Calm down, homie. I'll get to it.
Oh my god, that's
Jesus.
hilarious.
So what were you playing full house sets before you're doing the battle stuff, or how did that come along?
When we
You
grew
just
up, we played
hand in hand?
everything. Yeah, I
Hand
kind
in
of
hand.
grew up with the breakdancing type music, but we also played disco and deep house. And
Yeah.
like it was just a mixture of music from Kraftwerk to, Let No Man Put Us Under, First Choice. Like we would play it all, and we kind of were open format dance DJs. Is kind of the way I looked
that
at us.
lean,
And
but you were still doing
we
everything.
would play all types of music, which I thought was cool. And then when the Chicago house music started coming out, like that just took over. We were all the DJs in Chicago were just pounding that shit.
So were you hip hop before the house stuff started coming in?
Like I said, man, I grew up with breakdancing and DJing. Like that's what got me interested in DJing was doing tricks with records, having 2 copies. There was a dude that I knew from my neighborhood. He would take 2 copies of Purple Rain and do tricks with it, like literally with Prince, like doing scratches and like it's a slow song or whatever, but they didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
could still
it was
do
just-
tricks with it, and I thought that was the coolest thing of like, just being able to do tricks with any record.
Yeah, no, that's dope. What was that when Swamp was here? What did he do? He invented that record. That just kept
you remember
going.
Swamp had the skipless scratch tools?
Oh,
where
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like the same
Oh,
thing for the
right,
whole
right, right,
record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no,
No, he
that-
killed it on that.
That's some crazy
He's
shit.
a maniac, man. I love that dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, crazy. How was it? I know it's funny because that's always the debate of Serato versus CDJs versus turntables, and I always feel like, it's just like how amazing is it to jump on a plane with a USB
That's awesome.
instead of 10 crates of records?
Well,
like,
man, a lot of my friends were just talking about this, how their laptops will die out in the heat. I don't know how you guys deal with
oh
that.
no,
out
yeah,
here.
I can't use my laptop at the pool.
You
Not
can't,
at all. It
right?
won't. It won't
just-
happen. No, it's
yeah,
not happening.
So
yeah,
that's
yeah. I was doing a show
I
2
never
weeks
even
ago.
noticed that.
I was in Wyoming. And it was like a sunset show. It was already cool out, and still couldn't use my
Still
laptop.
died?
They like 6 songs.
so.
in.
What do you have to use? As USB?
I
as a
use
backup?
I use USB. Yeah. I don't know why I just tried it because I felt like it was cool enough.
Right,
but yeah,
yeah.
I'll never play a pool or anything with a laptop.
Yeah. So
And then you try and put ice or something like that. And I had a brand new laptop and it got condensation inside and just fried the motherboards.
Ooh.
That's a $4,000 L right
Oh.
there.
Man, I was gonna say I never noticed that, but then I just realized I never wake up for pool parties.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
never.
vampire guy over here.
Yeah, I was like, I wish I could go to more pool parties, but
So
yeah, I never-
show wise, what you're finally getting back to it a little bit.
yeah, a little bit.
What are your feelings on that? You think we're gonna make it through the
I
year?
hope so. I hope I'm taking them deposits.
You got some? Yep. You got a little COVID clause in your contracts now or something?
I didn't put in any clause in, but listen, man. If it's not gonna happen, I'll send their money back. I'm not like
Yeah.
that, but I'm hoping that it keeps going. But it's funny. The first weekend I did back was all Texas gigs. Houston.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and,
they were
open.
they were ready to go in
Right,
like
it's popping
like
over
May.
there.
Like they closed like March 15th to
Yup.
like March 22nd, and then they were
They
good.
were ready.
Yeah.
They were ready.
Were those like full show, like
Full
indoor shows?
Yeah, indoor shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was
No
crazy.
mask.
Were you? I was gonna say, were you nervous at all?
I
first
was
getting
wearing a
back on the
mask
road?
like an idiot, but like everybody else, no.
Oh no,
mask.
yeah, I know. I went to Texas a couple times, and like they look at you like you're an
Yeah,
alien if you have a
alien,
mask on, and
yeah.
like this clown.
Yeah.
Were you nervous at all getting back to the shows as far as that goes?
No,
or you
I
just-
was happy.
ready,
man. I was
ready, right?
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
did you feel like, or actually, I was gonna say, did you feel like you needed a warm up, but not really, because you guys
We
were
were
doing
doing
the
live
stream,
streams
so
and stuff
so
like
you were
that.
still in the
Yeah.
you still in the groove, I guess.
What
you'd
about
say.
music wise, man? Like production wise for you? I mean,
Yeah.
have you been still working in the
Yeah.
studio?
Still working in the
Did
studio.
you get anything done during COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a bunch of stuff done. So I'm just pacing it, putting it out, little by little. But yeah, I got a probably 7 or 8 tracks. I got one with a collab with Sneak that we finished.
wow.
I've got a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it'll be coming out.
How do you do that? Like when you're releasing, do you ever do you like sit on them and play them at shows first?
Yeah,
or,
you keep testing them.
Yeah,
and keep
test-
tweak. Go back to the studio,
Right.
tweak it a little bit.
Till
Be
you're
like,
ready.
tighten it up. Yeah.
Mhm. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I like that, being able to test them out there
For
before
sure.
you.
Man, are
put it out
you're
there.
gonna look out in the crowd today and everybody's gonna have a mask on?
You think so?
I did.
Well, it's
I
a
guarantee-
rooftop.
I-
It's a rooftop.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
rooftop.
yeah.
Rooftop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
they're
Alright.
not. Anyways, it's funny
Oh, they
because
can't do it. They can't.
I think outdoors you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
where are you
indoors.
playing at tonight,
Yeah.
Bill?
Commonwealth
downtown.
Club Soda,
Yeah,
Club Soda.
It's funny because so last Thursday at midnight. It was like when the mask mandate went on, and I
Yeah.
showed up. I went to without a mask. I was like, oh, well, it's fucking midnight.
They wouldn't let you in with
No, they really
Oh,
wouldn't.
wow.
Yeah.
What
I
at the,
thought-
for the Club Soda?
No. This was a
No.
different venue, but I'm just saying
They
like it
did
was
the mask
like
mandate.
yeah, like I showed up just after midnight, and they were like, oh, you would have been good before midnight. I'm like, oh, COVID came out after midnight, so I was
Oh,
not
man.
good anymore.
Oh, there it
They
is.
creeped
So,
out.
so there's a flyer for tonight. Who do you know? Who are these other guys? Or
So
any
Rip and Al is a dude from Chicago, and he, me and him used to DJ together a lot way back in the day in Chicago. He booked me up at his high school that he went to, and they have huge parties.
Man, Rip and L, that sounds like a guy I would hang with.
He's a dope DJ. Let me tell you a funny story about Rip and Al. This is a true story. So I was playing it was called Gordon Tech. I was playing, he booked me up. I'm DJing. I'm killing it. I'm like, man, crowd's grooving to it. He goes on right after me and literally starts playing techno, and I wasn't playing techno yet, like House of God and all these like James Brown is Dead type records, and the crowd erupted. And I was like, what the hell was I doing? I thought I was killing it, and then I saw him kill it. So I was like, yo, man, as soon as that was over, I called him like on the Monday or whatever. I'm like, yo, you got to come by my house. We got to talk. We got to figure out what the hell I'm not playing that you are.
That's
Were
right.
you not familiar with it at that point, or you just hadn't got into it yet to where you like?
I don't know. I just wasn't ready. Like I was.
You were listening to Eminem. Nobody listens to techno.
Basically, yeah. I was still on the house tip, like, and it was cool. People were grooving to it, but like the kids were ready for techno, and they were like really. And he was just on it. So he was like, "Yo, man, I'll come over. I'll." And he's always been like that. He's like, "Yo, I'll find the dope shit and keep you repping and rocking that shit." So he would always come by every week and bring me like dope shit to make sure that my radio mixes were on point.
What was your favorite place that did raves? I mean, I look at Detroit, like I thought we were doing some serious shit out there, but I mean, were there other places around the world?
God, yeah, everywhere. Dude.
Everywhere.
Toronto would have crazy raves.
Oh yeah, I love Toronto.
Yeah, DC, like upstate New York would have crazy raves. That was actually the first rave I played was for a guy named Fatto in upstate New York. And but yeah, everywhere. LA was having the craziest raves. I mean, think of EDC.
Hell yeah.
I played it in 2000 or something.
Hell yeah.
You know, Forrest was telling me the Nocturnal, they used to call it Nocturnal Balloon Land.
Yeah.
And he said that's how they made like so
that
much
was
money.
right in San Bernardino, and a bunch of us would go, and we used to have guys come with wire cutters, and we would sneak into the thing. And then I became a Samaritan.
That's my favorite.
And I started buying tickets.
Like I love going to Ultra and just watching, like, when you see the crowd getting ready outside and they're about to rush the gates.
Yeah.
Like, yo.
Hey, I was laughing. Forrest was telling me, how they have these cameras, at EDC, and it's just for comical reasons. But he said, man, watching people try to come over like these walls and fences,
they'll do it at like 50 at a time, because they're like, I know at least 30 of us will get through, and the other, like, you got to sacrifice whoever
there
gets
was
caught.
a time it was easy.
Yeah.
Domo here, weren't you one of the little Insomniac dancers?
Yes, I was.
How long did you do that for?
I did that from 2011 to like 2012.
Yeah, that's a run. That's a good run there.
So, I mean, we did a lot of festivals throughout the year and events, and fucking love it.
How did you get the name Domo?
Domo. I actually was
Arigato?
Yes.
I
was a break dancer. I got with the break dancing crew, and then I did my battle, because I had to like earn the privilege to be called a B-girl, and then they called me. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna call you, Domo Arigato," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And so everybody calls me that.
That's
like
fun.
that.
See, only the real music people know that, because every now and then people don't know, but the
Sticks.
they're like
Sticks.
Domo Arigato. Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of those OG shows, what did Vision just did that Dome reunion?
Yeah.
When was that? A couple weeks ago. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
No.
What?
Yeah. I'm surprised
Man,
you didn't
I
play
don't
that
even-
one.
I was booked already to play with Tony B in
Oh, wow.
Virginia.
Yeah.
So me and Tony B
What
were
it-
like, we should have been in LA.
Like,
but
yeah, like,
I was already
like,
booked.
Yeah,
and-
remember what was that? That's Florentine Gardens, right?
was Florentine
Remember
Gardens.
they used,
Florentine
they used to do
Gardens.
the parties called the Dome, and
Yeah.
Vision did like a reboot. I think was Irene there? I think
Irene
Irene was
was
there.
there,
Yeah,
I
like,
went to Heist. You remember those techno parties?
Heist? No.
Oh,
that
was like probably way after you guys' time.
That wasn't
was
after
LA
me
too?
and Bad
That
Boy
was
Bills.
when they were doing like
nothing-
Maybe
all
Jane, too.
ages event. It was like when Stevie Aoki was like
Oh, okay.
just coming up.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was,
Was
like
he
DJ
Kid?
Paparazzi.
Was he Kid Billionaire?
That was
back
a
then?
long time after the Dome.
I think that was
Yeah.
Aoki's.
Millionaire or something like that.
Yeah, Kid
Yeah.
Billionaire was his
Billionaire,
first
Billionaire.
little DJ name,
Oh,
I think.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you've been through
Sorry,
it.
I'm a youngster.
Yeah.
But you were the first dude doing raves with hip hop and electronic.
Yeah,
Nobody was doing that. I don't think before you.
Yeah, what was crazy was a lot of people get confused with the shows because there was another guy out there named Ty that we came into grips with, and what people didn't realize is I started out by investing with Ty.
Yep.
Ty ends up moving, and then I ended up going solo on my own, and Ty ends up moving in with me.
Okay.
And dude, his whole thing was to try to sabotage everything I was doing. But he was the one who had that he said, he was like, well, he's like, in Detroit, it doesn't matter if you have Tiesto or so and so, there's only like 1,500 to 2,000 kids coming out. Mm-hmm. And he was like, so, how can we get more people? And he's like, we would do a hip hop person. And then everybody started saying like, whoa, man, you don't know the electronic scene. Like, you really got to walk on thin ice to do that. But I was like, if you could just put it in there just lightly enough, just in and out, but it's got to be at the right moment. Yeah. I'm like, it would go off. And I mean, that was my niche. Right. And I mean, we destroyed it on that. Absolutely. And I mean, of course, me and Ty split apart. It was crazy. Back then in Detroit, they had like this, I don't even know what it was on the computer, like a rave chat room. Yep. All this shit's coming up every time I would do a show. It's like the show got canceled. And so like I ended up like, it was back when, I had to contact Yahoo, and I'm like, I'm going to sue you guys. Like, I don't know who the fuck's going on here saying every show I'm doing is whatever. So they trace the IP. And they come back and they tell me it's coming from your house. Wow. And that was the other big, because Ty did some shit on his own. Wow. But he wasn't doing the big shit. But he did some stuff on his own. And I was like, I didn't even know what to do. I'm like, oh my God, this guy that's living with me is crazy. Fucking taking me out the
He was the one you talked about that was doing shows at like a venue across, like real close.
No.
Oh, no. That's another hit.
Yeah, that was
another guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we did.
What was the first one? What did you do?
It was Tru Masters, which we did with Eminem.
And who was the electronic DJ?
Oh God, I don't know. It was Eminem, Magic Mike.
And then mine was with what?
You were with Wu-Tang? Yeah. Yep. We did you with Wu-Tang. I did one that was at one of the craziest ones. We did the Detroit Fairgrounds, and it was like Paul Van Dyke and
I love
we had
Paul
two.
Van
I know.
Dyke.
I had Too Short there.
Was that the one I was in a car with Ron Jeremy going to? Was that? Could that have been that one?
Shit.
Yeah.
Was that the one?
Yeah. Because I did have Ron. I was telling her, I was like, I had Ron Jeremy host one of my shows.
Yeah, and I was in the car.
How awkward was that ride?
Oh,
it was hilarious.
God.
It was
character
fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I did.
I think he had his clothes like in a bag,
like
or
a trash bag.
Like a trash bag or something. I'm like, why do you have your clothes with you? I was confused.
Man,
next level.
Yeah, we did. But one of the craziest ones I did, and I told people the hardest one I did, Run DMC with Paul Johnson.
Oh wow.
And the crazy part was, outside of Jam Master Jay, I said rest in peace to him, but he was probably the hardest person I've ever dealt with, hip hop or electronic, ever. And what was crazy was he had these gold-plated turntables, and they got lost. Oh, so wow. he was making me break my formula, because I'm like, all right, before this pill hits, I gotta have Run DMC come on and do it. And Jam Master Jay's like, I'm not playing. And then they're like, his turntables are at the airport, and he's like, I'm not playing until they get here. And I'm like, fuck, man. Wow. You can see all the kids transitioning, and we ended up having to send somebody out there to get them. And Paul Johnson that day, the crazy thing about that, he missed his flight 6 times. Wow. And I mean, and listen, and ultimately, because Paul Johnson's in a wheelchair. So it's like how do you miss your fucking flight? But it was, back then in the rave days, everything was so fun. It was like, okay, we got him. He's back on 6 p.m. Tell him. And then they're like, hey, he missed it again. Okay, we got him another one. 8:15.
Yeah, you just keep pushing it.
And then next thing I know, he was with a company, because I'll never forget. He was with a company. Was it Dust Tracks?
Yeah.
Was that like a big?
It was a big record label in Chicago.
And what was crazy was they didn't want to give our deposit.
Okay.
And so I think I was with Trick and them, but we hit him up and we're like, yo man, we're gonna come to Chicago. Yeah. We're gonna dump Paul out of his chair. We're gonna take his chair. And dude, this Dust Tracks is like, boom.
Today is not the day to be telling
negative
Paul Johnson.
No, Paul Johnson was the man.
He never made it though?
He never made it.
Oh, okay.
But the bottom line is whatever he was doing at that airport, he probably had a good time.
Yeah.
But it was almost like it
definitely.
was like set. I'm like, did Ty do this?
Oh, man.
Did Ty tell Paul not to? But yeah, they ended up coming on, and Run DMC did 3 songs, and I mean it went off. And
Wow.
you know, another one that was crazy was, you know, I had ODB.
Wow.
And ODB, man, I just wish I had that footage, because I get a call, and you don't normally hear from people, and I get a call, and of course I'm up at 6 a.m. and this guy says, "Yo, it's Dirt Dog. I ain't coming." And I was like, I thought it was like out of a nightmare, and I'm like, so I did the whole booking through the RZA, who was his cousin. So I called the RZA and I said, "Hey, some guy called me from a New York number and said this is Dirt Dog. I'm not coming." And he's like, "Shit." He's like, "All right." He's like, "Don't worry, man. I'm gonna get his ass on the plane." And I'm like, "All right." And then, dude, it was like the most comical, craziest thing ever. But he comes out, you know, again at the wrong time in the middle of the rave. Everybody's whatever. The crowd was packed, and he walks right out on stage, and he's like, "Fuck Detroit." He's like, "Hey, no, this is where it got real." He goes, "I hate white people."
Wow.
And dude, everybody's rolling, and he goes, "But you know what?" He's like, "They fucking made me come." And he goes, "But you know what?" He goes, "I don't like white people." He goes, before this show's over, y'all are gonna look like a bunch of niggas to me."
Damn.
And dude, he comes on and he does like one of the most epic Wu-Tang sets ever. Pissed off the stage.
Whoa.
Kicked the DJ's turntables. We had them on cinder blocks back then. He
Yep.
kicks them off the thing. The tables go crashing all over.
Oh,
But
fuck.
just some crazy ass shit.
You got any like fucked up stage stories like that? Like I mean, I'm sure there's plenty, but
How many
yeah.
bracelets do you have from those raves? I know you had to get.
You know what? I was saving flyers and bracelets. They're all in like bins. I have to like dig them up. But
Did you ever collect hotel room keys?
I have those. Too. I
Yeah.
have a bunch of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
Too many
That's
to
what I
take
should have
care
went through during COVID. I
Oh, like organize all that
shit.
stuff? Yeah, there's plenty of
Right.
time.
Hey, you know something that surprised me? I did a show one time, and I didn't even, again, I wasn't too hip on all the DJs, but a guy told me, he's like, "Yo, you got to do a show with Kioki."
Mhm.
So I did a rave, and I called it Smurf. And so it was real low budget. The whole thing cost me like 10 grand. We're like, all right, we're going to make 20.
Yeah.
We did 3,100 people. I guess
Wow.
Kioki had been off
Okay.
for like 3 or 4 years, you know, getting like in treatment or something. And it was crazy because we made so much, like it was astronomical. We made like 150,000. And I remember we had runners going back to this hotel room with bags of money.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there, and we were sitting there with like 5 girls, and we're trying to count them up. We're like 10, 20, 10, 20, 30. And I just remember I opened up this hallway, and I see Kioki out there. And dude, I just gave him, I was like, I gave him an extra 10 grand, and I gave him this bracelet.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not even the fucking I'm like, nobody ever gives me a fucking bracelet. But
Right.
I give him a bracelet, and then I rebook him 2 years later,
Okay.
and he comes, and he has the bracelet on.
That's
That's
awesome.
And I was
Yeah.
like, man, he
You've
fucking.
been wearing it since then.
I'm playing. I got booked, so I got an offer for August 20th. My birthday's the 21st, and it's for Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
And for this year, coming up in a couple weeks. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Should I do it? Because my birthday's gonna be at midnight. Do I want to be in Long Island? And they're like, it's some guy's birthday. I'm like, so now I'm thinking it's like a private event. But I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. Well, the flyer just came out this week. It's me, Frankie Bones, Kioki,
Oh,
Dank.
man.
Like, it's this crazy lineup of like, it's like an old school rave flyer, and people are bugging out. So I'm gonna be with these dudes August 20th.
Man, I actually booked.
Are they going to stream it?
I don't know. I'm not. It's
Oh,
gonna be at the
man.
venue. I have no
He's like, I didn't even know who was on the
I
lineup.
wish I could see that shit.
Hey, what was that movie you were showing me? That
Party Monster?
Yeah, that had to do with Kioki or whatever.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy too. Michael Alec died.
Yeah. I didn't.
Who was that?
He's the Limelight promoter. or
He's the
whatever.
guy.
Yeah.
He's Party Monster.
The party man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started to watch the thing because we were talking about Kioki, and she's like, you got to see this.
I mean, that was part of my rave.
Yeah.
Like, people showed me that. And I watched the movie, and then I watched the real documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Big
It's
difference.
intense.
Or was the
Intense.
movie on point or?
Man, I'm happy to hear.
Oh, it's on point.
Yeah.
Like, it'll fucking... I mean, it's just crazy that it just came from, like, a party scene.
Club kids and all
Club
that stuff.
kids.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that Frankie
I'm a
Bones
cl-
is still around, man.
Yeah,
Like
man. Yeah.
I had him back. I was doing some bookings at rehab. I remember I booked you for rehab one
Yep.
time, but I booked Frankie Bones, and like, you know, again, it wasn't that, you know, the few real ones that were there, they knew exactly who he was. But I mean, I know he was having some issues then with some stuff. We had some issues with getting him there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm glad to hear he's still around. That's dope.
Crazy party.
Yeah, we might have to go out there for that.
Yeah.
Visit our happy monkey people.
Where? Oh,
Long
New York?
Island.
Oh,
yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah, we zip out there sometimes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready for New York.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, what was this? What was G Minor saying earlier about Bad Boy Bill doing? You were scratching
his DMC, his battle days.
Oh my God.
His battle days.
Well, see, the thing about it is, you know, going back to the DMC battle, I started doing DJ battles, and it was like, I was already on the radio. I got on the radio when I was 16 years old. I was a junior in high school, and Farley Jackmaster Funk put me on WGCI as one of the Jackmaster 5.
And I think a lot of people don't realize how big the radio was in those days.
When you're on the radio back then, that meant something.
Yeah,
like,
that was like the ultimate.
Yeah, because there's a couple million people in Chicago listening to your mixes. We had 30, 40 shares. Like, everybody's listening to the mixes on the weekend because you couldn't hear the music anywhere else. It's not like today where SoundCloud, Spotify, all these different ways of hearing electronic music.
That was literally the only way.
Unless you went to the record store and bought vinyl, you couldn't hear these records. Like it didn't exist other than that. So I didn't want to join the battle. I'm like, dude, I'm already on the radio. Why do I need a battle? And they're like, no, you got to represent Chicago. Enter the DMC. So me and Mike Hitman Wilson, he was also on the radio, joined the DMC battle. In '88, I came in first in the Midwest, flew to San Diego where they had the finals, and I lost to Cash Money. Cash Money, I came in second. He went first, and he went to the Worlds and won everything. So the next year, they gave me a bye straight to the U.S. finals, which were held in Chicago, and that I came in third that year, and it was who won? It was it Aladdin? I think it was Aladdin. Yeah, I think it was Aladdin, and then DJ Miz was second, and I came in third. And you know who else was in that battle was Muggs.
Oh man,
yeah, he didn't place, but he was dope too. I mean, Muggs, and you saw what happened. His career is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were trying to scratch with different things. So people would scratch with a basketball.
You already know where this is going.
You know, scratch with a shoe. Like, you know, so I was like, man, I'm going to scratch with a dick. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I got to take it too far.
Yo. Hey, did you
win
win that?
Dick?
Hold on.
So I had this like 12-inch dildo come out of my boxer shorts, and I was scratching. It was anyway.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is that right there? Up there. Yeah, that's it up there.
Yeah. We're gonna it was Caucasian, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Barney. By the way,
that was the he hit the crossfader with it.
So did that win? Did you win?
No, I came in third because they knew it was coming, and they cut me right when at the very end because I had done it the year before in San Diego. And so they were like, nah.
Haters.
Yeah, they were ready for it. They were waiting for it.
Trying to let me shine.
Man.
I mean, unless you got anything else, I think that's a perfect place to end it. I don't know if we could top that story.
Right.
Yeah, I was just looking at your computer. What was that shit that I just seen today about T.I.? T.I. got caught up.
Yeah, he got arrested. Actually,
yeah, what country was that he got arrested in?
Amsterdam.
Yeah,
for what?
Is it Amsterdam? Like
he what did they say? He said he was on his phone on a bike, and they arrested him.
You can't be on your phone.
They put him in jail, but he wasn't supposed to have his phone. But he's in jail doing a live. I'm just like, man, everybody's doing this crazy shit. But I guess he was in jail. It said for like 22 minutes.
He was riding a bike and his handlebars broke off the side mirror of a cop car.
Oh,
that makes a lot more sense. Like, yo.
Hey, and he's in jail and he's like, yeah, I tried to bond myself out, and he pulls out like 20 racks. He's like, they apparently don't take money over here.
They're like, what the fuck are we gonna do with that?
Yeah.
But yeah, he said it was like a language thing.
And they said he didn't have his passport on him. So in order to get out of jail, he just had to have somebody come up there and swipe his card, and off he went. So
that's horrible luck. Like, out of all the cars in the street, you break the mirror of a cop car.
Hey, what do we say? Bad things happen to good people. So
and T.I.
T.I. for sure. T.I.'s quarterly. So all right, well, thank you very much, Bad Boy Bill, for coming by, man.
Thank you. Thanks
Can't
for
wait
to see you tonight.
Can't wait to see your show tonight at midnight. At what is that?
Commonwealth. Give them social media, man, so they can follow you if they're not already. I'm sure they are.
DJ Bad Boy Bill everywhere, and then I think Facebook it's just Bad Boy Bill, but everywhere else is DJ Bad Boy Bill.
There we go. Cool. Thank you guys for checking us out. TheGreenRoomRadio.com and at Green Room Radio. Make sure you guys hit us up. Hit that follow button, that like button wherever you're streaming the podcast, and make sure you keep up with it.
Where can they find you at, Domo?
Domo Monster 7 on IG.
And I'm Tru Management, one word.
Yes. At DJ Super James, we're out the door. Thank you guys so much.
All right, peace.